Here's a single-part long-form safe story, no bullets, no adult explicit content, just clean drama and emotion. Full story, 5,000 words. Jason was the kind of teenager who always believed he could handle life on his own. At 17, he thought he had figured out the rules of the world, or at least the rules of his own household. He lived in a quiet suburban neighborhood with his mother, Laura, who worked long hours as a nurse. Their home was small but cozy, filled with memories, laughter, and occasional misunderstandings that came naturally in any family. One late summer afternoon, the house was quiet. Jason had come back from school early, his friends had cancelled their plans, and Laura was supposed to be on a double shift. He thought he was completely alone, safe in his room with no one to disturb him. But that day, fate had a way of teaching him a life lesson he would never forget. Laura returned home earlier than expected. She was exhausted from her shift but had decided to surprise Jason with his favorite dinner. She wanted to sit down and reconnect with her son, who had been distant lately. As she stepped into the house, she heard faint sounds coming from Jason's room. She assumed he was on the phone with a friend or maybe playing video games, so she walked upstairs to knock on his door. But when she opened the door without warning, what she saw left both of them frozen in shock. Jason had been completely caught off guard, and Laura didn't know what to say. It wasn't anything scandalous, but it was something every teenager has done. Jason had been lost in his own private world, thinking no one would see. The silence was unbearable. Jason's face turned bright red as he scrambled to cover himself and muttered, "Mom, I thought you weren't home yet." Laura quickly closed the door, equally embarrassed, her heart pounding. She didn't want to shame her son, but she also didn't know how to handle the situation. After a moment, she took a deep breath and knocked again, softly this time. "Jason," she said gently, "can we talk for a minute?" Jason didn't answer at first. He wanted the whole moment to disappear, to rewind time and erase what had just happened. But he knew he couldn't avoid her forever. "Okay," he finally muttered, opening the door just a crack. Laura stepped inside, her expression calm and kind, though she was still processing the awkwardness. "Listen, sweetheart," she began carefully, "I'm sorry for barging in. I should have knocked. But I want you to know, you don't have to be ashamed. What you were doing isn't wrong, it's part of growing up." Jason stared at the floor, his ears burning. "It's still embarrassing," he said in a low voice. Laura smiled softly. "Of course it is. I remember being your age, too. We all think we're invisible until suddenly we're not. But I want you to know something important. You can always talk to me, no matter how awkward or uncomfortable. I won't judge you. I'm your mom, and I love you no matter what." Those words surprised Jason. He expected anger, disappointment, or even punishment. Instead, he felt an unexpected sense of relief. The tension slowly faded as they sat on the edge of his bed, talking. What began as the most embarrassing moment of Jason's life turned into a heartfelt conversation about trust, privacy, and respect. Laura explained the importance of boundaries and how every person, even family, deserves personal space. Jason admitted he had been stressed with school, sports, and the pressure of growing up, and sometimes he just needed time to himself. They ended up talking for over an hour, sharing stories, laughing nervously, and finally coming to an understanding. Laura promised to always knock before entering, and Jason promised to be more open when he was struggling. That night, over dinner, Jason realized something had shifted. His mom wasn't just his parent, she was also someone who understood him more than he gave her credit for. And Laura realized her son wasn't a little boy anymore. He was becoming a young man, and while that came with awkward challenges, it also brought opportunities for deeper connection. The incident could have been a source of lasting embarrassment, but instead, it became a turning point in their relationship. Jason no longer felt the need to hide so much of himself, and Laura no longer worried that he was slipping away. Years later, Jason would look back at that day and laugh. What once felt like the most humiliating moment of his life became a story he appreciated because it showed him that his mother's love was stronger than any awkwardness, and that trust could be built even in the most unexpected situations. Life moved on, and both Jason and Laura carried the lesson with them. Sometimes, being caught off guard is exactly what it takes to bring people closer.